and good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. Viewers, tonight as we put the spotlight on Sushant death mystery, there are going to be two big aspects that I look at. The first one will be about this fresh set of information that has come, a revelation. There was an alert given to Mumbai police in February and it seems they did nothing about it. The second aspect will actually be to take you through all the available information, separate facts from theories and conspiracy theories and speculation and fiction. There is way too much information out there, viewers, which is misleading with the only intent to build certain kinds of narrative. Too many vested interests, now even political interests. And our only idea is to help you understand what to believe and what you shouldn't believe or shouldn't take at face value right now. But first up, the sensational turn of events that has happened. The father of Sushant Singh Rajput, this time on camera, specifically has claimed that the Bandra police, the Mumbai police, was alerted in February that things were not going fine with Sushant, that there was a danger and that the Mumbai police must act on it. The family claims this was repeated and reminded to the Mumbai police months later after they had lost their son. And even then this angle was not looked at. I want to first play out what the father said. This is the man who's just lost his son making this claim that in February this year, the Mumbai police was asked to look into the issue and they did nothing. Listen in to him.
25 फरवरी को मैंने बांद्रा पुलिस को आगाह किया था कि मेरे बेटे सुशांत की जान को खतरा है, परंतु उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया। 14 जून को जब मेरे बेटे की जान चली गई तो हमने 25 फरवरी में नामित लोगों के विरुद्ध एक्शन लेने को कहा, परंतु 40 दिन के बीत जाने के बाद भी उन्होंने कोई कार्रवाई नहीं की। हार होकर मैं पटना गया और अपने थाने में केस FIR दर्ज की। पटना पुलिस तुरंत एक्शन में आई और परंतु मुजरिम अब भाग रहे हैं। हम सभी को चाहिए कि पटना पुलिस को मदद करें। मैं श्री नीतीश कुमार जी, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री बिहार और उनके सहयोगी मंत्री श्री संजय झा जी का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि उन्होंने इस दुखी घड़ी में सच का साथ दिया।
So this is what the father says this evening, that we alerted them, we told them there was a threat and nothing happened, justifying why now they had to go to the Bihar police. Now viewers, this is the next set of revelations. These are WhatsApp messages that have now emerged, a conversation that took place between Sushant's brother-in-law, who is a top cop in Haryana, and the DCP of Zone 9, where Bandra is. The cop in Bandra, whom this top cop from Haryana, a relative of Sushant, got in touch with. These are the WhatsApp conversations between these two police officers. Message 1 is from February 19th at 4:44 p.m. It says, from Sushant's family, from the brother-in-law, it says, his DCE classmate who stays with him, he will get you the background. Message number 2, a minute later, says the idea is that he should not be hurt for being all by himself there. Message number 3 at 4:46 p.m. again from the family. He was so much in his elements here, a lovable boy. Wife keeps worrying about his well-being. This is the cop who's married to the lady who's Sushant's sister. And he is reaching out to the Mumbai police in February, saying, my wife is worried. This man has been taken somewhere. We are worried about his well-being and sure he is not hurt because he is alone there with no family. Then, there is another set of messages on February 25th, where the cop in Bandra, DCP Daya, responds at 10:24 a.m. saying, sir, in a meeting, will call back please. At 4:05 p.m. he says, noted, sir. Sushant's family says Ria's father is a retired military doctor. Just after a couple of days of association, she moved into Sushant's place on the pretext of curing him of depression. She and her family took him to a resort near the airport and kept him there for months together. Since then, they are managing him and his business affairs. He is downhill since then. Family goes on to say, when the matter went out of hand, Sushant called up my wife to be rescued. He stayed with us for 2-3 days, went back fine, citing his shooting commitments. He is downhill again, with reports of Rhea firing all Sushant's loyalty members and putting her own stooges in place. The family member is repeatedly, again and again, raising concerns about Sushant's well-being, about him not being okay mentally, and blaming Rhea Chakrabarti even at that time in February 2020 for his state of mind. Now, this question was also asked to the Mumbai police chief in the evening, that the family is making this allegation about the issue being raised in February. Listen into what the Mumbai police chief said at that time.
फैमिली ने ये कहा है कि फरवरी 25 को उन्होंने एक कंप्लेंट मुंबई पुलिस को दी थी कि दे आर एप्रीहेंसिव अबाउट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग विद सुशांत सिंह राजपूत। इस कंप्लेंट के बारे में कोई जानकारी
नहीं, हमें जानकारी नहीं है कौन सी कंप्लेंट है, राइटिंग में कहाँ है, हमें कॉपी अगर आप देंगे तो अवश्य हम उस एंगल से भी।
और एक पार्टी की बात हो रही है और किसी मंत्री वगैरह जो भी ऐसा सब कुछ भी अटकलें लगाई जा रही है सोशल मीडिया।
हमने 13 और 14 जून का सीसीटीवी फुटेज एग्जामिन किया है बिल्डिंग का। जो लोग फ्लैट में मौजूद थे उनकी हमें जानकारी है, जो उनके घर के परिवार के जो उनके साथ रहने वाले 4-5 व्यक्ति थे। उसके अलावा हमें किसी पार्टी की जानकारी, किसी पार्टी के बारे में हमें कुछ भी एविडेंस नहीं मिली है।
So clearly, nobody told the Mumbai police chief until this evening, and now that the matter has blown up, the police has issued a fresh statement. After these WhatsApp chats have been revealed and fresh questions are being raised, the Mumbai police is confirming the chat between the Sushant's family member, his relative, and the Mumbai police DCP. But they say no written complaint was given on 25th February. Sushant's brother-in-law spoke to the then DCP. The then DCP asked for a written complaint. Sushant's family members wanted issue to be resolved informally, and so no complaint was filed. Santhya is joining us with more on this. Santhya, the Mumbai police's argument and response is that nobody gave it us in a formal complaint, so we ignored all these alerts and warnings.
Yes, absolutely, Tanvi. So this is what Mumbai police is saying, that no formal complaint was given by any member of Sushant Singh Rajput's family about his life being in danger. Now there is a WhatsApp chat between Sushant Singh Rajput's brother-in-law OP Singh and DCP Paramjeet Singh Dahiya. He was the one who was handling Bandra police jurisdiction at that time, Tanvi. Here is we have the content of the WhatsApp chat. Now Mumbai police has also issued a clarification saying that because it was an informal conversation, so the DCP called OP Singh and requested him to file a proper formal complaint to that. According to Mumbai police, OP Singh said that he wanted it to get resolved internally, and the DCP informed OP Singh that that will not be possible. Here, Tanvi, another important thing is that once the Bihar police FIR was filed and this claim was made by the family that Mumbai police was approached by the family on 25th February, we categorically asked if there was anything of this nature or not. First reply of Mumbai police was no formal complaint, and we spoke about was there any informal communication also. That also was denied by Mumbai police. So this is once again that Sushant's family has proof of approaching Mumbai police. And again, in today's press briefings as well, this was asked to Mumbai CP, and he said that Sushant's family did not take any names ever. No doubts were raised. But in this particular message, we can see that how Rhea Chakrabarti's name was given by Sushant's brother-in-law. Tanvi.
No, so Santhya, help our viewers understand this. Today, the Mumbai police now, right now, at this point at 8 p.m. is saying yes, and OP Singh, IPS officer who is a relative of Sushant Singh, did message us. But when we asked him for a written complaint, he said that he wants this matter to be resolved informally, which the Mumbai police said is not possible to do it informally. In the evening, 3 hours, in the daytime, in fact, 6 hours ago, when the Mumbai police chief broke his silence for the first time and this question was asked to him, Santya, he said he is not aware of any such thing that happened in February, complaint or otherwise. And you are saying that earlier last week, when these reports first emerged, that the family had warned the Mumbai police, they had denied it. They denied the family telling them to look into Riya Chakrabarti's role.
Yes, absolutely, Tanvi, and this has been the stand of Mumbai police since the very beginning, that family never raised any doubts or took anyone's name. And this was the stand till today afternoon when Mumbai Police Commissioner himself addressed a press conference. But here is a chat where Riya Chakrabarti's name is there, her family members are mentioned. So the question here is that why, even if for a second we believe that there was no formal complaint, but what stopped Mumbai police from looking into this angle during the investigation? Because they were investigating a suicide, abatement of, they were looking into a suicide case, and this was a very important input. The question which Mumbai police has to answer is that why was this input ignored or not looked into by Mumbai police? Tanvi.
All right, Santya, thanks so much for getting us that. I just want to one more time read out what Mumbai police has to say. On one hand, you have the chats for you to see, chats that Mumbai police cannot deny anymore. Chats between OP Singh, an IPS officer, a top cop in Faridabad right now, a relative, brother-in-law of Sushant Singh, who messaged the Mumbai police DCP in February. And on the other hand, you have the statement of the Mumbai police that accepts that yes, this conversation happened, but they never followed it up with a formal complaint. So that's that. We never did anything about it. And I don't know why didn't they do anything about it even after Sushant's death. At least then they should have looked at this angle. Did they? Did they not? Something that the Mumbai police has to answer us. Let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now. Mr. Rayal Banerjee, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. K.K. Manan, Senior Advocate of the Delhi High Court. Dr. Manoj Gupta, Forensic Medicine Expert, joining us this evening. Sudhakar Suradkar, former IPS officer, also with us this evening. But first up, I want to go across to Vinay Tiwari. Vinay, this definitely puts Mumbai police in a spot. Their own changing versions and absolutely still no clarity as to why, if not in February, why not immediately after Sushant's death did they look into these complaints?
Yes, I mean, two quick things, Tanvi. One, the issuing of the press release by the Mumbai police means that they've confirmed that there was a chat that happened between an IPS officer posted in Faridabad and the then DCP zone, where Bandra's jurisdiction falls. But then in this press release also lies what I believe is the biggest point of self-implication. The Mumbai police has implicated itself in many ways in admitting and accepting that while there was a procedural ground or a reason for not following up on that complaint earlier, because there was no written complaint made by the complainant's family, there is absolutely no reason why after June 14th, when that person actually was found dead, this should not have become a material ground for probe to continue on this line. Maybe till June 14th, they were waiting for a formal intimation, and in the absence of that, they did not probe it. That's a technical argument, but even if I was to accept that technical argument, for them to not investigate that after June 14th, when the person was found dead, is extremely difficult to believe. And that is why we believe that the Mumbai police has now is seriously in the dock and has in many ways self-implicated itself, because from all available evidence, they don't seem to have probed that line at all. They haven't, when the family came to give their statements, even if the statements did not contain any of the allegations that are now being made, the police should have asked them questions about this. They should have asked them that in February you had indeed sent, or you had got one of your relatives to send a message to the senior police officer here. What do you mean by that, and can you explain that? They should have called Riya Chakrabarti because she was mentioned in that particular WhatsApp communication, and they should have made efforts to find out whether that communication, even if it was given informally to the police, but because it was given in advance, why that should not be linked and probed after the person has been found dead. So a big, big lapse by the Mumbai police and something that doesn't quite add up, Tanvi.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, let me also get in some experts here, and we've got Mr. Sudhakar Suratkar joining us. Mr. Suratkar, when the police starts quoting protocol to us and rules that have to be followed, then there is definitely something that is amiss. I mean, if a family is desperately trying to get in touch with you and over a period of 1 week, they've sent you a series of messages saying, please look into that matter. Not only do you not look into it then, but you don't even follow up on that angle after this man is found dead. Doesn't that, put the Mumbai police in the dock over how they handle this case?
Firstly, we are not aware what evidence the Bombay police have collected so far, because this will be premature to judge action of Bombay police. This is the stage where police are investigating under section 174 of CRPC. They are investigating a case and they will look into all the aspect of it. And unless we get all the reports, the inquiries, the postmortem, the statements and everything, which will be available once the investigation is over. And once we get all the information, then we can raise questions. And of course, if thereafter Bombay police is found lacking in certain things, we can take Bombay police to task, because every policeman is expected to obey the directions of law. Once we get all the papers, at that stage we can say whether Bombay police has failed and how it has failed, and they can be taken to task. But not at this stage. Let the Bombay police first complete the investigation.
But Mr. Suratkar, I'm not asking you to, or neither am I passing a judgment on the police investigation so far, because it's not done. Fair enough. All I'm saying is, if a matter is raised by the family saying there are concerns that he will be hurt, the exact message in February said, please ensure he isn't hurt because he's all by himself there. And then after he's found dead, 3 months, 4 months later, the family claims they again told the Mumbai police to look into Riya Chakrabarti. Mumbai police repeatedly on record has told us that this was never told to them, that the family never named anybody. Now here are two different examples where the family clearly did name somebody and the police did not take them seriously.
Actually, unless we see all the papers, because it will not be fair on my part to pass any comment without seeing the papers. So I would definitely like to see first go through the papers. And if Bombay police is at fault, they should not be spared. But first, let's see all the papers, because this is a case which is being, there is no case of murder registered. There is no case of abatement of suicide registered at this stage. At this stage, the investigation is under 174, that is suspected suicide. Because the suicide may turn out to be a murder, it could turn out to be anything. So it depends on the investigation. So first, let Bombay police investigate the case. After they investigate the case and come to some conclusion, we can get all the papers and then we can take it up. And if necessary, we can definitely deal with Bombay police, because they can't get away with, they are bound by law. As far as this case is concerned, I think unnecessarily, and let me make it very clear, Bihar police has no jurisdiction at all. Let it be very clear. And the investigation is going on.
Okay, we will come to that aspect, Mr. Suratkar, in just a bit. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will come to that in just a bit, because this is the latest information that's come out. Let me just quickly get a few more reactions and then we will move to the larger conversation that we wanted to do today. Mr. A.L. Banerjee, let us give the benefit of doubt to the Mumbai police to say in February, when a family member, a cop himself, reached out to this DCP and said, well, I want you to look into this, please look into this, my family is worried, he may get hurt. There is this lady who seems to be controlling everything, and he is not in a mentally, stable state. When he was with us, he was fine. Then he went back because he had shoot compulsions, and in a few days, he, started to spiral down again. And so we need to see what's happening. They took him to a resort to get him treated, and there is absolutely no clarity on what's going on. Now, family's been worried. But they say they don't want to file an official complaint right now. So the police says, well, then we can't do anything unofficially. This is not the protocol. All right. But Mr. Banerjee, this was in February. In June, when the man is found dead, shouldn't the first reaction be to immediately join the dots and say, oh wait, this needs to be one of our biggest ankles. The family did raise this 4 months ago. Let us look into it. How is it that the Mumbai police for 40 days has been telling us the family never raised it?
Tanvi, there are a couple of things that you just said, and right now you can see on the screen it is written that the DCP in question, who was informed by a colleague from Haryana, I believe he's the relative of Sushant Singh, he says that please look into this. This man DCP says that we have done something. Now what he has done we don't know.
And today you say, just as we are discussing this, the Bombay police has come up with this thing that yes, they had this information. Now, for a DCP level officer, getting something in February, doing something about it, as he says he's done it, and then subsequently trying to join it with this particular case, seems maybe a little difficult, because there are so many things happening. It's getting the press, it's kind of going all across the country. So maybe the small thing didn't register with the DCP at that time. I'm not defending anybody. I'm not defending anything. However, as my co-panelist very clearly said and very correctly said, under Section 177 CRPC, no other police but the jurisdictional police has an authority to look into this matter, investigate it. That is very, very clear. Number two, the fact is that if there is a clash of authorities in this particular case, it puts everybody in a very shoddy light and a very bad light. And now that this thing has come out in the open, Bombay police should in fact go ahead and also include this as part of their investigation. They are already investigating. The investigation has not ended. None of us have seen the papers. Whatever they have written, whatever they have found out, we are not privy to it. So judging somebody before something is out is incorrect thing to do.
Okay, Mr. Manan, you disagree with what is being said here?
With great respect, I disagree with both of the panelists. Totally disagree. You see, 177, then thereafter another section 178. Another section is 179, which is very much important in this case, that is in the CRPC. 1. 2. Now the question is, when there is a report on 25th of February from the parents' side, why that was not investigated? That was also at the level of a DCP. 3. Now the question is, from the very beginning, what the Bombay police is doing for the last 45 days, even they have not registered the DD or the case, or they have not come at the conclusion for anything. Whatever they are answering, evasive answers are being given to the family. Family is not getting the justice. If Patna police has registered the case, and Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court is very much clear, and if you remember that where the case of Bapu Asaram was registered, not in Jodhpur, it was registered in Kamla Market, Delhi. And thereafter, whatever the preliminary investigation was to be done, they done it. And thereafter, after medical examination, etc., they transferred the suo motu, whatever the guidelines of the Honorable Supreme Court or of the various Honorable High Court. Anyway, I am not on that. I am on the point of that from the day one, the conduct of Bombay police is not clear at all. They are giving evasive answers. And now see the circumstances. In murder cases, there are two types of cases. One is eyewitness, a state case. The second is circumstantial evidence. Now here is a case which depends upon a circumstantial evidence case, and they have to, the prosecution, the police has to complete the chain of evidence. in every circumstantial evidence case. But here is a case, first chain, first hook of the chain, they have not started. That was on 9th of June, the secretary of Sushant Singh Rajput was died. And before that, that was on 9th June. As per own version of Riya Chakrabarti, she left his company on 8th of June. Now, whether she has left his company on 8th of June, 9th of June or 10th of June, it is a matter of investigation, which they have not done it. And third, another point which I would like to point out, now, the persons who has informed the sister of Sushant Singh Rajput that he is not responding from inside the room. Then you see the distance between her house and Sushant Singh Rajput's house. She came there. Why those people have not broken the door? In usually that in the suicide cases, or where is a doubt that somebody is inside, whether it is a bride warning case or committing suicide, immediately the persons present having doubt, they will break the door of the house, which they did not. They waited the sister, and the sister came and she said, and yesterday or today, the police commissioner of Bombay said that they have called somebody from the nearby and prepared the duplicate key to open the door, meaning by that somebody or whatever it is, room was locked from inside or outside. If it was locked from inside, then where is the key which was lying inside? If Sushant Singh Rajput has locked the door from inside, whether that key was seized by the Bombay police or not. 3, there is a post-mortem.
Mr. Manan, I understand what you're saying.
Injury on the neck, round side, which is not being explained at all. So number of things are there.
No, Mr. Manan, I'm sorry, I need to come in here. Mr. Manan, I don't know where you're getting this information. Mr. Manan, I don't know where you're getting this information, but I would say that the post-mortem report hasn't been made public anywhere. Anything and everything, anything and everything that is related. Yes, sir, you may be going on other channels where these speculations and theories get discussed, but we will not do that on Mirror Now, because officially the post-mortem report has not been released. It's not even been given to the Bihar police, let alone to anybody else who's sitting on a channel debate. Similarly, all the theories which are doing the rounds right now are simply that, Mr. Manan. This is Mirror Now, and this is the urban debate here on the Mirror Now, Mr. Manan. I am only going to stick to the official facts which are presented to us and versions which are either given to us by the family or the Mumbai police and the Bihar police. Over and above that, you know it as a man of law, as a person who knows law and fights cases, that we should wait for the evidence to emerge and for this to be argued in the court. Anything that you and I say here will prejudice just the minds of people, and we don't know. People are reading it from somewhere who's getting it from another place and a third place and a fourth place, and it would be unfair for us to really take any of this at face value. The only reason we've even picked up on the February alert is that because there are these messages, WhatsApp messages that have emerged, which have now been confirmed by the Mumbai police. We have put those out because Mumbai police admits that this conversation happened between the family of Sushant Singh and the Bandra police back in February. And then they say they did not follow up because there was no official complaint. Now, in fact, let me give a few more examples of things that our viewers may have heard, may have seen, read up about somewhere or the other, but there isn't any basis right now. It could be true, it may not be true. We don't know until the investigation is done and this evidence is presented in court. For example, the other thing which often gets discussed is 2 murders on the night of Sushant's death. That there were 2 bodies, including one of a man called Samuel and another of Sushant. And there are pictures that are doing the rounds on social media that these bodies were exchanged, moved from one place to the other. There's a picture of one body on the stretcher. This man, Samuel, is still alive. He's spoken to Times Network. He's also spoken about Sushant Singh Rajput and the alleged depression conversation that's going on. There was this whole conversation, and many actually quoted this to me. People have come to me and said, but how is it, Tanvi, that the news of his death got updated on Wikipedia even before the news of the death came out? There is some foul play, or somebody put it up even before it happened because they knew it was going to happen. No, the explanation is very simple. Wikipedia edits are based on a coordinated universal time. This coordinated universal time is 5.5 hours behind Indian Standard Time. And if you match the two, you will see that the news of Sushant's death was updated on this page around the time that the news was made public and actually emerged. Theory number 3, Sushant was murdered by Dawood Ibrahim. I don't even know how people have the confidence to call this murder when none of the police, not the Bihar police or the Mumbai police, has even indicated. Even Bihar police has filed a case of avertment of suicide. But people are saying he was killed by a man called Dawood Ibrahim, a gangster and his gang. Not the Mumbai police, not the Bihar police have even raised this matter so far. Only one special man who claims to be a raw officer says CCTV footage has gone missing and that Sushant's associates are involved in this entire conspiracy, and Sushant was being threatened by the gangster on the phone. Let the police investigate that, or whichever agency, whether it's CBI tomorrow, let them investigate that. Vinay, before I go across to our experts and even the forensic expert who's very crucial to this conversation for this very reason, we have to make an attempt and remind everyone to sift through what is a confirmed fact, what is a version, whether a police version or a family version, and what is simply a theory with no evidence so far.
Tanvi, the problem in this case is, and much like a lot of high-profile cases that we end up, covering, in a crime, there are a set of available facts which nobody can deny, and then there are questions that emanate from those facts which need to be probed by an investigative agency. Now, much like that, in this case too, that is what has happened. Fact, there is a known celebrity or a superstar whose dead body has been found inside his own home. There is no suicide letter that he has left behind. The police presumes on the basis of a prima facie examination of the crime scene that it appears to be a suicide and hence registers an ADR under 177 section of the CRPC and begins its probe. Now, this is where the questions begin. Usually in suicides, there are really 7 to 8 reasons, and Mr. Manan is a very esteemed lawyer and he'll bear me out on that, so is Mr. Banerjee, who's a very seasoned cop. Usually there are 7 to 8 reasons. There's either divorce, there is emotional distress, there is some illness, there can be the fear of loss of social standing, or there could be a relationship having gone wrong. Usually those are the 5 or 6 angles that you start investigating. Now in this case, to probe any of these issues or any of the likelihood of these issues, the police obviously needs to speak to the primary contacts first. What has created a problem in this case is that the Mumbai police seems to be, and I'm saying seems to be purely on the basis of the versions of the family, have spent more time speaking to the secondary contacts and less with the primary contacts. Aside of this fact, and aside of the facts that are now getting confirmed one by one, including one now where the Faridabad police officer, who's a relative of Sushant Singh Rajput, has sent a WhatsApp to the then DCP, there are all theories. I mean, I'm astounded that a lot of people on social media and even possibly on other news channels are even going to the extent of conducting a work-from-home autopsies. And I'm using the words work-from-home autopsies because there is one particular Twitter account that has taken a still picture of Sushant Singh Rajput's dead body and has conducted a full autopsy on it to say how this is a murder. I mean, nothing can be more absurd than that. You cannot do work-from-home autopsies. I know we are in the age and era of quarantine and social distancing, but you really cannot investigate criminal cases like this. The police and the doctors who have conducted this have made no such reference to it. The PM report is already available with the police. The police has also got the Viscera report, and neither of these documents so far suggest any murder. Even the Bihar police registers only a 306 case and not the 302. So my only argument is that the trouble in this case is, Tanvi, that there are so many theories that are coming out of no evidence, but the manner of the investigation of the Mumbai police has left certain questions unanswered, and that is why any investigation like this requires a methodical and a transparent investigation process, including the family members, and transparency vis-a-vis family, not the media, where they should have kept them into confidence and spoken to them regularly and checked out every single angle or point that could have been possible behind the reason of a death of a very known personality, Tanvi.
Yes, and you know, I will reiterate those 2 points that you made, Vinay. One about facts versus theories, which are theories today. Some of them may get confirmed tomorrow, but until they do, let's not be, you know, part of the machinery that reinforces any one type of narrative to benefit any vested interest. Second, like you said, there is enough evidence already to ask questions of the Mumbai police and even of the Bihar police. The Bihar police seems to be giving us contradicting versions about whether or not Riya Chakrabarti has been sent a notice, not sent a notice. Bihar police one day said that no, वो हमारी निगरानी में है, हम उन पे जब हमें क्वेश्चन करना होगा तब करेंगे, पर हमने निगरानी रखी है. Their top boss is actually saying she is not traceable. Now, the legal team of Riya Chakrabarti has issued a statement saying she is right here. She is cooperated with the Mumbai police. She has not even received a notice from the Bihar police. So there are changes in versions even from the official authorities who are investigating the case. And I'm only highlighting this because people must know this before we come and jump to any conclusions. Right now, they are just questions. To the point that Vinay raised about the remotely done post-mortems and forensics. Let me ask an expert, a man who's you know, made a profession and spent his life doing this. Dr. Manoj Gupta is joining us right now. Dr. Manoj Gupta, is it possible, apart from the person who's actually looking into the forensics, the viscera report, the autopsy, for anybody else to remotely sit, look at one picture on social media and tell us whether the marks indicate foul play or anything else?
Thank you, Tanvi, for inviting me. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, please.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, Dr. Gupta, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I've been hearing all the experts for last half an hour now. I've been told to speak now after 30 minutes. Whatever has been told till now, I feel it has been based on speculation made on social media or maybe in the news channel. The best person to answer all the questions related to autopsy is the person himself who has done the autopsy. Nobody can judge based on the social media photographs or any reports sent on the social media. I don't feel all the people sitting in the panel should come to any conclusion without having the chain of evidence in our hand, or if there is a final cause of death which concludes that the person has either committed suicide or homicide. Generally, such cases which is high profile, it takes little longer time to settle the issue. I think we should leave all the matter to the autopsy person, the person who has done. I know, I think there may be 4 or 5 people who must have been present during the autopsy, and they will not give any report in the social media without the permission of the higher authority. I feel we should not go by the speculation which is made on the social media or on any print or any media, TV media channel, anywhere. We should stick to whatever has been told to us, that the case is being investigated, and we should collect all the chain of evidence, and chain of evidence will link us whether this particular matter is suicidal or homicidal. We should not come to conclusion in the beginning that this is an homicidal or a suicidal. Let us wait for some time. Hello?
Dr. Gupta, I have one more question for you. You know, because of the fact that initially for 40 days the Mumbai police has looked into this case, and now the Bihar police has come in, and we don't know what the Supreme Court decides, or if the chorus grows louder for a CBI probe, and at some point CBI comes in. Does this harm the probe? Does this harm especially the forensics, the autopsy, post-mortem, you know, the things that need to be done immediately and the sciences that are involved there? Does this risk the evidence being destroyed or being tampered with?
I don't think so. No forensic expert will think in that line. Similar thing happened in Justice Loya's matter. Justice Loya's matter was only investigated in medias. Nobody was, in fact, pressurized in the department. I know the person who did the postmortem of Justice Loya, and he was completely calm when he went to the court also for giving the evidence. I think we should leave this particular thing up to the prudence of that particular autopsy surgeon, whether he has done the correct thing or not the correct thing. He will be cross-examined in the court. Let him give the evidence in the court of law. I think all the matter will come to the logical conclusion when there is a cross-examination in the court of law.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for clarifying, and I really wanted the viewers to hear it from an expert, from a man of your experience, because today there are dime a dozen, self-appointed forensic experts and doctors who are sitting and passing judgment on whether or not this was suicide or homicide or some other foul play which has happened, which we shouldn't get into. Nobody apart from those specific team members have seen Sushant's body, investigated it, and that report is still just with the Mumbai police. The hospital also did not give it to the Bihar police. Bihar police doesn't have it so far. That's the extent of the secrecy, let alone anybody out there in the public. Similarly, the other aspect, and as we talk about facts versus fiction and conspiracy theories, Mr. A.L. Banerjee, to you first and then to Sudhakar Suratkar as well. Mr. Banerjee, is there a fear that it becomes difficult to make a watertight case when multiple agencies get involved, lock horns, fight over, who has jurisdiction, and there may be a possibility of vested interest or any kind of cover-up?
In such a high-profile case, the chances of cover-up do not seem to be there. I'll be let's be frank about it. The other thing is that when such a case takes place or when such a thing happens, any citizen in the country, in the territory of India, if he is in the know of a cognizable offence, he can go to the local police station and register an FIR. However, I'll come back to my section 177, which was upheld by one of the panelists, that this thing can only be investigated or tried in its jurisdiction, where it originally began. And that is what the Supreme Court has held so far. The second thing is that if this has happened, like the forensic expert was very good at explaining us, we are still not there. We are not sure whether it is a homicide or a suicide. Now, once we are at least outside the circle of investigation, we don't know what actually has happened. Maybe the investigators have a full report about what actually has transpired, whether it's a suicide or a homicide, and they will proceed accordingly. In case there are too many FIRs, but if there are even two FIRs of the same incident, and here is one FIR from Bihar, it has to be put together and investigated. If there is further evidence or further material in the second FIR, that also has to be taken into account. But I do not foresee in this particular case, which has got so much amount of media attention, there are so many powerful people are involved, that it can be swept under the carpet. No, not at all. And considering the fact that Bombay police otherwise has been a very professional and a very, I would say, very regular kind of a police, this does not seem possible at all.
Vinay, you wanted to make a point?
No, I just wanted to make a quick point, Tanvi, because this issue of jurisdiction is possibly the most talked about issue now that has come up. And I'll tell you, I was doing a bit of a research on this, and I found there was at least one judgment, Sukhvinder Kaur versus the Delhi government, the state of Delhi, in 1999, where the Supreme Court actually agreed. This was a dowry death case which had actually happened in Punjab, and it was a police station in Delhi which registered an FIR as well and started probing it on the basis of a complaint, very similar in nature to this case. And in that case, the Supreme Court actually said that you cannot, I mean, number one, they completely disagreed with the idea of quashing of an FIR, because they said even if you want to challenge it on the grounds of jurisdiction, we are reluctant to quash an FIR in a criminal case because there has been a formal complaint made and it's been made in a cognizable offence, so the officer was duty bound to write that FIR. There was question raised over why it was not a 0 FIR but a numbered FIR, and in that concept too, the Supreme Court said that even if it was a numbered FIR, the fact that there was some material investigation process to be done, I would not agree with the earlier court's decision of jurisdiction, and would actually allow for all this material to have, which has been collected by the investigating officer of the Delhi police, to be included as part of the investigation. So the point I'm trying to make is this, that while a lot of people seem to believe that there is prima facie no reason but for the Bihar police's investigation to be called non-jurisdictional, there is at least one precedence in the past where the Supreme Court has allowed only on the ground that at some stage everything that particular police force is investigated or collected as part of their probe should be then collected alongside with what the other police force is doing. So all I'm trying to say is this, that the reason why the Bihar police has taken the risk and the gamble of not registering it as a 0 FIR and actually making it a numbered FIR seems to have extended the theory of the cause of action that we've been talking about a lot on Mirror now, and they do believe that there is enough grounds of cause of action even in a criminal case like this to investigate a case and add to what the Mumbai police is saying. Tanvi.
Okay, Mr. Manan, if you want to come in here as well on the aspect of does this impact proving a case in court when there are multiple narratives, versions, multiple investigative agencies, does it make the job harder to prove the case in court, especially in abutment of suicide case, which is difficult?
You see, to some extent, I totally agree with the earlier panelist. So far as section 177, I was reminding him section 178, 179 of the CRPC under chapter 13 of the CRPC. The now question is that whether this Patna police, to what extent they can investigate. I say whatever 0 FIR they have been registered, whatever the investigation they have done it, but ultimately if the case has not been transferred to the CBI, this case has to go to Bombay police. That is not a disputable point. Nobody can dispute it because in the CRPC, jurisdiction of investigation is totally fixed and given in the CRPC. So the another point is what we are discussing. We are discussing that whether the multiple investigating agencies can be allowed. No, can't be, because so many cooks spoil the food, and that will not be possible and will not be allowed by the Honorable Supreme Court. You will find it on 5th or 6th when the case will come before the Honorable Supreme Court in this case. Exactly, it's a high profile case, but the question is, I am time and again requesting, rather I say the conduct. You see, in the criminal trial, in the criminal investigation, conduct of an accused, complainant, police, investigating agency has to be seen by the courts. The conduct so far of Bombay police is not up to the mark because so many clues are being left by them. As my another earlier panelist was telling, so many questions are unanswered by them. There is no doubt. But question is, who will separate the chaff from the grains? Investigating agency, neither we nor anybody else, even the family can't do that except the investigating agency. So my humble request before the Honorable Supreme Court would be via this channel, and this investigation should be transferred to the CBI. So neither the family, who is the victim in this case? The family. Why that Riya Chakravarti had approached the Honorable Supreme Court when she herself has requested and written a letter to the Home Minister to transfer this investigation to the CBI. So something is smelling, right. One can smell something, but we can't judge it. We are not the investigating agency, we are not the judges, but judge will also decide when the case will be investigated. Investigation will be completed thoroughly. But here is a case for the last 1.5 months, case is not going towards anywhere by Bombay police. This is the grudge of the family, this is the grudge of the society, this is the grudge of the media also.
Yes, no, okay, I understand. 40 days the case didn't go anywhere. We don't know actually if there was a case, apart from the fact that warnings were raised by the family in February, and now they say has completely been a conspiracy planned by one woman and her group. Now, if that is the case, that the Mumbai police did look at or didn't look at it at all, or looked at it, didn't find anything, and went chasing after the Bollywood celebrities. Here are the big 10 things. I want to just tell you what the Mumbai Police Commissioner said today. It's very important, viewers, because for last 1 week we have been asking this question: why is it that the Mumbai Police is not answering, not reacting to the FIR by the Bihar Police? The police force that on a daily basis for the past 40 days was giving us information, feeding us information, leaking information about where the investigation is going, who is going to be summoned next, which big filmmaker, which big star, had gone into complete silence for the last 1 week. Today, finally, the Mumbai Police Commissioner came out and spoke, and he said Bihar Police has no jurisdiction here. He said there is no evidence of money being transferred from Sushant's account to Ria's account. Yes, 1.5 years ago, there were 18 crores in this account. At the time of Sushant's death, the money had come down to 4.5 crore. We are investigating that. But the time period, what we understand, viewers, was 1.5 years between 18 crore and 4.5 crore. None of this went to Ria's account, is what the police chief claims. He says Sushant's family didn't raise any suspicions initially. Clearly, somebody forgot to tell him that they did, and they did so with the Mumbai police. He says no evidence of any party at Sushant's place, no evidence of any politician being present at the party at Disha's place, no link found between Sushant and Disha Salian's death. But yes, Sushant was disturbed after Disha Salian's death, that he kept Googling his own name online. He kept Googling about the mental condition called bipolar disorder online. He kept Googling about painless death online. This is what the Mumbai Police Commissioner has said today. Now, Mr. Suratkar, while this is what they're talking about today, for last 40 days, the only thing we know Mumbai Police has constantly told us or indicated to us is which high-profile Bollywood celebrity they are going to call for questioning. Whether it's a production house, a filmmaker, an actor, a model, a choreographer, whoever. How is it that they didn't look at all of these allegations by the family, or while knowing those allegations, they still went after the Bollywood celebrities?
Let me make it very clear that the entire case depends on the forensic evidence. That is the most important evidence, first. Secondly, police have two roles: take preventive action and then investigate. Now, whatever you are talking about February, it is the matter whether preventive action was to be taken by police or not, and there as has been made very clear that the family members themselves didn't want any preventive action. So let me make it very clear that let the police do their job, then let them completely collect the evidence. Once they collect and complete the evidence, it will be available to everyone, and then question police. This is not the stage where you should create hindrance in investigation. And let it be very clear, Supreme Court is aware of it, and I think it's only a matter of couple of days where the Supreme Court itself will make everything clear. So let's await Supreme Court order and wait what happens. But let me make it very clear that police do their job, and if they are not doing their job properly, hold them responsible after giving them proper opportunity, getting all the papers.
Okay, all right. Very quickly, Vinay Tiwari wants to make a point. Go ahead, please.
No, just one very quick point. Look, Tanvi, I completely agree with Suratkar. This is only the job of the investigator. But I'll tell you what, we are in 2020. Perception makes a lot of difference. I, for my life, cannot understand who advised the Maharashtra administration or the BMC to go in for a ridiculous thing of quarantining the SP of Patna City who came in. These are the kind of things that just do not send the right message. There were a 4-member team of policemen running around for the last 6 days. Nobody quarantined them. Now all of a sudden, when the SP lands up here, you quarantine him. It's completely not required, because the minute you do something like this, people start speculating. They raise questions and they actually start believing theories that the Mumbai police is something to hide. It was an ill-advised move. It was a bad move, and perceptually, in the age of television and media, a disaster. And they shouldn't have done that, because this is the kind of theatrics that actually creates problems in terms of perception, and that's why questions are being asked of the Mumbai police.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to thank all of our guests for joining us right now. Unfortunately, I'm completely out of time, but thank you. Viewers, the intent tonight was to help you sift through all that is floating around there, the theories which are floating around, which have absolutely no evidence to back them right now, and from the facts that we have and the various versions. I will give you one very quick example before I wrap this up. When I say versions, look at the difference between what the two police departments are telling us. The Bihar police says that they're going to focus on Riya Chakrabarti because that's what the family has been insisting on doing. They say they are going to focus on the Disha Sushant death link. The Mumbai police has ruled out both. They say there were no financial transactions to Riya. We didn't come across anything. This name wasn't given to us earlier. We investigated the two deaths. There is no connection between Sushant's case and Disha's case. Of course, there is a big fight that happens on the Patna SP being quarantined, and a big fight that happened there between the two sides. A big fight that's happened over the jurisdiction about who should investigate this case. But there are multiple versions, and no investigation is over yet. So you shouldn't be forming a judgment in your own mind basis what you read, especially on social media, maybe even some of the media channels. Don't. Let the evidence emerge. Let the forensics post-mortem details emerge. They are not out. Nobody, if anybody claims they know and then they say there is something wrong here, just know that you shouldn't believe that person, because the information isn't officially out there with anyone. Let there be a fair investigation to see if there was any foul play. And please respect the memory of the man gone. Respect the dead. His personal life, his private life. Respect those who are alive before you jump to conclusions and pass judgments on anybody right now. Let the truth come out. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.